everyone, this is episode 31 of Noodle Time. Welcome back. Here with me are two people. Usually, instead of us, me and Eric, we do have not only Eric, but also we have Herman from Dinámico joining us for today. How's it going, y'all?
What's up, man? What's up? It's yeah, there we go. We kissing the batch today. You know, game was last night. Wasn't exactly how we wanted it, but it was better than what a lot of people expected, man. But Herman, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Excellent. Happy to join both you and Andres. Thank you for having me.
No, yeah. If you guys don't know Herman, he's my co-host for Dinámico, essentially the Spanish version of Noodle Time that we have as a separate podcast, and he's joining us today. Obviously, this is like a very special episode because we'll be reviewing the first game of the season for the Houston Dynamo on their own against Cincinnati last night. We're recording on the Sunday, and yeah, like there's definitely lots to talk about, lots to go through when it comes to how the first team showed up to a pretty difficult Cincinnati side that it's it still seems to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and pretty much just a lot to talk about when it comes to how the Dynamo looks structured to start things off in the season, and pretty much just leaving us just like wondering how it's gonna look like when the season keeps going, and yeah, like it's unfortunately, like even though it was a 2-1 loss, it felt like the Dynamo had like a more in store, and it didn't go horribly wrong, at least for me, because it could have gone in a lot of ways very wrong for them. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, dude. I mean, from what we've been going through the past couple of years and coming into this preseason with the complete overhaul, we did not know what we were going to get. We've seen a little bit in the preseason and kind of could gauge a little bit what to expect. And the boys, in my eyes, optimistic soccer guy. They played played well to me last night. Even the stats will back it up how well they played. I think Ben Olsen even said it in the after game press conference that we were a little, or maybe it was Archer who said it, but we were a little too complacent at times, which led to some errors during the game, making some nonchalant passes where the Cincinnati was able to intervene and just take back over and put an attack on us, and it did lead to a goal. Their pressure, but as far as the game goes, I'm fine with it. I didn't lose no sleep last night. I had a good time. I enjoyed the game. Someone did comment to me that y'all must have lost. Didn't hear the screaming going on. So I was like, yes, which was true, true.
I
But
scream
I'm
after the
complacent
first
with it.
goal.
Oh yeah, that for sure. Yeah, dude. And Tate Smith, and come on a corner kick too. Yeah, man. Yeah. And so it is what it is. But like Foxtrot said, Cincinnati is an Eastern Conference contender. Of course, Philadelphia is going to win the Eastern no matter what, I think. But Cincinnati is a good team. They perform well, and I'm happy that the boys were able to take it to Cincinnati last night. Just unfortunate on the score end.
Oh yeah, and we'll definitely talk a little bit more about the game itself. And essentially, in this episode, we're gonna focus on reviewing the season opener at Cincinnati, and we're also gonna be previewing the upcoming game at New England, and just transition to that game. I feel like it's gonna be interesting as well. So we'll discuss that, and also at the end, we're gonna get to the Twitter question. So with that out of the way, let's get into the episode. We can go ahead and start talking about the first half of the game against Cincinnati, and essentially how the starting 11 looked. Because the good news is that pretty much almost everyone that had visa issues is back, and reportedly, like even Sebas, Thor, and Coco got green cards by now, and yeah, like even though our bench, at least that's how I see it, I don't think it was like the strongest depth we have right now, but at the same time, it's what we could have at that moment. But at the same time, I feel like outside of not having Basi, which I feel like was the early miss for this game, I feel like this is like one of the strongest teams we had in a while. So it's just good to see that Ben Olsen already figured something out, and it seems to be working now. And yeah, obviously having Ache in a similar role like last year, but also more involved. I feel like he was set up to succeed with this lineup.
Go ahead, Herman. It sounds like you got something to say there.
I have a lot to say. It last year when we talked about this rebuild and this roster turnover that had to happen this summer, my end goal was just to field a competitive team that took it to other teams, you know. And even though we lost, personally myself, like I feel pride in this Dynamo team because even after we went down 1-0, like I felt from the 30th minute until we scored the goal, we dominated, man. We kept creating attack after attack after attack down the left, down the middle. I was like, whoa, I'm not used to this. You know, we were dictating the game. And that's all I want to see as a fan. You know, like go at them. Go, don't be scared. Be aggressive. And the reason I was nodding my head with Andres is I was curious, but also I can't get ahead of myself. I gotta wait to see what happens when Basi comes back. But we talked about it when we made these signings. What are we gonna play? What are we gonna play? Well, an established CDM in the league, Arthur, plays the holding, and then you got Coco and HH moving more forward, more involved with the attack, and they look good. I personally I like that. So I don't know how Basi's gonna if Basi's gonna take Baird's place. I don't know. I don't know how he's gonna look when he's gonna come, but I personally love the midfield. I think HH and Coco it suits them better, to be honest. Um HH's set pieces, holy guacamole.
Yep.
Some of those balls were even I could go up and hit one of those, you know, because it got that perfect spin, it got that perfect velocity. All you got to do is put your head to it, you know. And the last thing is the fans that traveled. Hope y'all get back home safely. We
They're
recognize your
already back.
efforts. The surge, they're already back. That's good news. El Batallón was there. Webb was there. So I know a lot of fans made the sacrifice to go up there. So thank you for holding it down, and hopefully you get home safely.
So yeah, big shout out to them. Honestly, like just organizing for that trip, like very far from Houston, and just being there for the team, especially these past few years. That it's pretty much for like a lot of people, it's like a deal breaker. Like no way of like just traveling to support this team after what's happened before. But obviously, like the fans that know, the fans that are there in the transition phase of the team, they're still willing to support, and we've seen it. We've seen that last night. So shout out to them, honestly, and they deserve all the credit for pretty much just going above and beyond to keep supporting the team away from home, and obviously like spending their money, their time, just dedicating to that, and yeah, it's just respect all around, honestly.
Yeah, man, and Apple even showed them after the goal was scored, and we got a glimpse of how many that was there, and just the celebration that was going on. I saw a couple photos. Dynamo Fan TV took a photo. It looks like, so there was quite a few of them there, man. I could say like maybe like 20 of them were there. So it was a good venture for them. It looks like they had fun. They took in a couple of them took in a hockey game while they were there. It looked like they went to the zoo even too. So they made a trip out of it. They had fun. I know that most of the surge are back already this morning, but Webb he's still traveling, man. He's going on. I guess he's going. I said he's going to going up to Chicago now, so he's going to travel north. I promised him Fox this episode would be ready for his drive back south, so we got to make sure to give him something to listen to on the way back. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for
man, El
sure, for
Batillon
sure.
was there too, but and then I don't know if y'all want to mention the gripe that was brought up last night, but otherwise, man, they brung it, they showed out, and they had a great time. Yeah, I'm with you right there, Herman.
Oh yeah, and yeah, what's up, Ramon?
Your both of your thoughts on the quality of the Apple broadcast.
Oh no, yeah, the so for the most part, I just before heading into this game, I was particularly impressed with the picture, the quality of the image, or rather, just like the stream itself, and particularly for the Nashville and NYCFC game, I thought it was good. What I noticed that for our game, I don't know if it was like it's like the type of camera I use or like an issue with the stream, but like it looked like just looking at our players' jerseys, like it weird. Like there were like some
It was
lines in between, and
a Where's Waldo uniform.
honestly, yeah, and and yeah, like for example, and yeah, just looking straight at them, like you just feel uncomfortable just looking at them, and the image seemed pretty weird. So I'm not sure if it's just like an issue with the stream or the equipment used or something with like the camera specifically. But I thought that was weird. But overall, I I thought the commentating was okay. I typically don't like neutral commentators, and for this case in particular, I felt like they I forgot the name of the color commentator that was sitting next to the play-by-play commentator, but he for the most I felt like he did his research for the most part, and and also brought up some good points about the Dynamo, not just talking about Ache Ache the whole game. So I thought that was good, and and yeah, we'll see how it goes. And I just hope like the picture quality changes. Maybe it's some like I said, maybe this is like an individual case, but yeah, I felt like the image quality could improve just based on this game alone.
I think his name was Kalen Williams or something like that, but don't quote me on that. But the uniforms almost felt like a kind of a green screen perspective to me whenever I first saw it, and it just kind of like, are they going to disappear or something from the screen? And that's what I got with those uniforms, because maybe that orange, that shade of orange or whatever that we're wearing, just was that close to green screen quality that that kind of and threw off the Apple picture, but. As far as the screen, the quality, I'm okay with the quality, and I'm good at tuning out the announcers. So to tell you the truth, I don't remember too much of the commentary last night. Of course, there was a little bit you did hear, but I tuned it out. I watched the game. I focus on my thoughts and just watching the players, and so I have no problems with the Apple. Besides our uniforms looking like they were ready to disappear.
And yeah, and just getting back to the game, we can just go ahead and start talking about like the first 20 minutes of the first half, and at this point, like early, like it just seemed like Dynamo were taking a beating from Cincinnati when it comes to pressure, and Cincinnati just kept pressuring on and on and on, and it seemed like the Dynamo would concede, and that would be the case essentially when um, it kind of looked like a Franco Escobar lost his marker, and like a combination of Franco Escobar and and yeah, just like the center backs in general, because it seemed like Bartlow got mixed up with Franco Escobar towards the end of the play, which would end up with Obina not Obina, sorry, Sergio Santos scoring off of what just getting past both Escobar and Bartlow, and and yeah, I mean it's just one of those defensive miscues that can be fixed, and I feel like for this game in particular, I feel like Franco Escobar had a pretty rough game, and and yeah, just looking at the transcript from what Ben Olsen said, he pretty much recognized that Franco Escobar wasn't supposed to be playing 90 minutes right away to start the season. So I'm thinking that he was just looking at him to essentially have him there as a placeholder until we got all of the fullbacks back, and and hopefully like Franco Escobar improves. But I felt like he had like a pretty rough game today.
To be honest, going back to look at the highlight, I want to say that it was Arthur who was the guy that was marking what's his face when Cincinnati scored their first goal. He beat Arthur, and then Bartlow got beat on the goal because it looked like Bartlow was just kind of a little lazy, and Escobar was caught up field on the return. But don't we have to go back and review the tape for that. But I'm right there with you, man. Arthur, I mean not Arthur, Franco Escobar. He did not look like he was in form at all. Um, Towards the end of the game, obviously we saw Dorsey come in, and maybe Dorsey wasn't fit to play a full 90 minutes himself. But if I don't know, and do, like I said, we don't know if Franco's not in form right now. I would have started Dorsey over Franco Escobar, but you got to get Franco in there, and you got to get him to get quality time with Bartlow and get acclimated with a Bartlow. Just kind of sucks that it was against Cincinnati, who's got a good attacking on them, and it put Escobar out of place. And yeah, a lot of people said Escobar was the low man on the totem pole as far as player performances last night. And Bartlow being young and not that experienced yet, and he being on that same side, that's a lot of space that Bartlow has to pick up, man. And so it showed that last night, and a lot of people were kind of getting on Bartlow too for his quality of play. But I'm not going to knock Bartlow; he did okay. He could have backed up a little bit better, knowing what he had over there on his side. But yeah, man, I agree with your takes.
And going young will, like, these are the growing pains, right? With Bartholomew, you're gonna have that miscommunication, and also Escobar is brand new, so we're still developing that chemistry, But I agree with the goal. Now, a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, we lost it pressing," but no, I mean they still build it up from there, and the shot was nice. It's not like I mean, if he takes one more second to take that shot, Escobar blocks it because he slid right in front of him. Um, so yeah, we lost possession, but we should have gotten it back. And to OSG's point, that's communication between Bartholomew and Escobar. But again, these are part of the growing pains of becoming a starter now, right? We're gonna make that jump to from bench player to starter for Bartholomew. So uh, I agree with Andres. Nothing that can't be fixed. Little lazy, and that is going to be on Arthur because that's his role, right? To help out the center backs and play out of trouble out of the back. So I think those are issues we can fix, but we definitely can't keep having them from occurring again.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And yeah, that's gonna be somewhat the theme of the game. Essentially, just those kind of mistakes that will cost us the points and even a result here. And I guess from here, like things will get better for Dynamo because like it seemed like from the last preseason game, it just felt like the team is starting to know how to adapt to those specific situations, and they ended up improving things, especially when it comes to possession, distribution, and just trying to like get the ball back up because like in those like first 20 minutes, you just felt like the Dynamo were not doing much, and Cincinnati was just like pressing them against the wall. But credit to the Dynamo because they just came out and try to change the game like for the rest of the first half up until Tate Schmidt's goal, and and yeah, it just seems pretty good, especially when Ache and particularly Ache and Ivan Franco. I felt like they started the game very poorly, but then they got back to that groove and they started creating those chances. So credit to them, and also Ache. You mentioned a little bit earlier about his passing, and early, like I said, it wasn't that great, but with the flow of the game, like he just got it going, and he just kept creating those chances. And also a big shout out to Coco because he obviously I don't know what's gonna be what are the roles going to be like when Basi comes back, but Coco just pretty much ran through the channels and started creating those opportunities and later in the first half, and I thought that was great, honestly. And Coco is it's we've seen him preseason, and he's just at another level right now compared to when he just came in. So I'm looking forward to that, and yeah, I'm not sure what you guys think about like the chemistry because I feel like it's not one of the things that could use some improvements over the course of the season because we've seen the issues with the chemistry this game, and I feel like that's one of the few reasons why we pretty much lost this game.
And yeah, well, the chemistry looked like I said, we talked about it earlier. They were kind of nonchalant with their passing game. Where I mean, they were connecting on passes, but they were just making them a little bit too easily, and just Cincinnati was intercepting their passes. Yeah, I think we did miss Bossy. Which if Bossy was ready, I don't think Franco would have started this game, and obviously Barry would have started on the other side. Bossy would have played on that wing right there, and that could have been a little something different. Not saying Franco had a bad game or anything like that. He looked good out there. So yeah, now, like you said, the question is, where does who does Bossy take his place for the next game? Is it going to be Baird, who had a horrible game, or is it going to be Franco? Because that's what it's looked like the entire preseason. Go ahead and get into this. Was Sebastian Fadea playing yesterday? Because I don't think he touched the ball. I think he had one shot and not very many touches. Even when you look at the flow chart, uh, the striker should be going forward, and the flow chart was kind of bent backwards. So it looked like he was coming back into play a lot instead of going forward into play. We were not finding him in the box. We were, of course, a lot of those went out for corner kicks at the same time. But we got to find a way to get Sebastian Fidea involved in the game a lot more, and I don't care what way that is. And you know, man, but yeah, we got to get Sebastian Fidea involved in the game, right?
Oh yeah,
That's a good point. I'd even think about it. I only saw one that I remember, and it happened in the first half. It's in the last 15 minutes of the first half, we were attacking, and I think it was Schmidt that sent like a low cross, uh, and it got cleared, but not completely, so it was still in the box, and it landed on Sebas, and he had to hit it with his left foot, but blasted it just over the bar. But that's the only scoring opportunity I remember from Sebas. So that's a good point, OSG. And especially with this formation, you got Coco and Herrera going forward now, so it's not like Sebas is the only guy in the box now. So that's gonna be interesting because he's used to being a target man. So it's gonna be interesting seeing that forward. And Andres talked about Coco. I love Coco as a player. He's one of my favorite. But I challenge him with this new role. He's gonna find himself in opportunities to score, and he did so last night. He needs to start working on that shooting. I know he's used to being a CDM where that's not a priority, but now he's more shifted to like a box to box. He's going to find himself inside the box with an opportunity, and we can't let those slip away. So I challenge him to improve his shooting this season because he had a couple this game where if he puts it on target or forces the goalkeeper to save it, it might go in.
Dude, you're going to see Coco
oh
excel.
yeah, and he had a couple opportunities to
Yeah, he's
score.
going to excel, man. He's going to excel, and
Yep.
he's going to Europe during the summer. So if he keeps playing like he's playing right now, and just the form he's in, but you're right, Armand. He's got to hit those targets whenever he gets those opportunities.
Yep. And before we close out the first half, let's talk about Tate because this man just came in and initially we didn't think he was going to be a starter, but he pretty much just showed up in this game, and it pretty much brought in a good problem to have, especially when Brad Smith and Javencio come into the picture. He already established his case, and not only talking about the goal specifically, but rather how much he was involved in the game, and he just comes up, is part of the attack, goes back down, knows how to track back his players, and yeah, like this man is a starter for me right now, and like I said, it's gonna suck to be Brad Smith and Javency right now because this man is favorite to keep being a starter for a while now, so that's pretty good. I like what I've seen from Tate Schmidt.
Hey, I'm sorry, DaVincio Vendor Cuss, but can we pull back that offer? Hey, and that's relying on Brad Smith being a decent player too, because Smith obviously can't do it every day, and maybe Smith on a high right now, coming off a high, just because I think he trialed for Seattle and didn't make it, and then he came down to Houston and he trialed. He looked great and he made the squad. Here he is starting due to injuries. So if there wasn't injuries, do we know if he would start? So he could be playing on a high, but man, right now that man's playing some ball right now. He was probably the second best player on the team last night behind Coco, and he's the one who got the goal. If you saw the replay, he's running down the middle of the box. His mark couldn't even keep up with him, and he gets a beautiful header into the corner of the net. Nothing keeper could do about it. So I'm happy for Smith, and I'm glad he's our starting left back. Now it's up to Brad Smith if he wants to take that position, or even Vanderkuss. So we got some flexibility out there here pretty soon.
I just want to stand up and clap for Pat Onstad. Finally, this is a good GM move. Okay,
Yep.
this is a good GM move. Traded a third round pick for this guy. A third round pick. What did we do with our third round pick this year? We already released them, and instead
Yep.
we have a serviceable player that's going to fight for a starting spot. That's a good GM move. I want to clap for Pat Onstad. That's the type of moves we need. Those veterans that can fill voids that we need. They're not sexy. Nobody was saying, "Oh my God, we got a good one" when we signed them or traded for him. But after last night, he's got my vote. I mean, if he keeps playing like that, he can be my starting left back any day.
Yep. And no, I mean that just goes to show that, like, even if a player got released from a club and pretty much just keeps floating around clubs for trial, doesn't necessarily mean that he's not no longer like an MLS starting caliber player. Like, that's not to say that everyone that's pretty much in that same situation is going to play as well as Stage Mid, but rather uh, a good a good general manager with like a good scouting department is going to recognize like a player's strengths and weaknesses, and that's I'm sure that's part of the reason why they took an eye on Tate Schmidt, because he got released from Russell League, and like you said, Seattle was looking at him for a bit, but nothing worked out, and thankfully, and in the right situation, he came into us, and we barely spent any resources to get him. You know, like it was just for his player rights in MLS that we had to like trade out a third round pick in the super draft, and we pretty much don't have much of a record of success when it comes to the super draft, outside of a few players. But yeah, that's just good. Overall, just recognizing that specific situation, and obviously trading those resources, and yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything else, Eric, before we move to the second half.
I do want to add something on Schmidt.
Yeah,
The guy, and I need to Google this, but I'm sure he's either 24 or 25. Like, let's say that he pans out, boom, you got him for the prime of his career. So this might be the underrated signing. I mean, it's too early, right? It's just first game. We're getting all excited and stuff, but the guy is 25. He's about to hit the prime of his career. So underrated signing for sure.
Yeah, and everything
yep,
Good job,
yeah,
Pat.
Pat, good signing, or whoever found him and mentioned him to Pat, or whoever told him, hey, that's a Seattle dropped him. Bring this guy in, let's try him out. Because I'm pretty sure Seattle plays different than we do, so he didn't fit their mold over there. They're not injured at left back like we are, so they just probably like, hey man, you don't fit with us. We don't see you playing well with us or into our style. And then Houston, he shows up for Houston, and he just fits in automatically, just right off the bat. And you saw it in the preseason as well. The game before Dallas, was that Columbus? He played 75 minutes of the Columbus game in preseason, and then of course a lot of the game, most of the game against Dallas. And he's just getting involved very much. The boys are trusting him, and then just look at the celebration last night. The entire team, besides the keeper, came over and celebrated with him. I don't expect Clark to run 100 yards to go celebrate with Smith, and the entire team came, and they were just happy to see that man just get him a goal like that and just put us back into the game. So yes, Tate Smith, we clap for you. We clap for whoever brought you in as a trial, and man, good job, brother. And like Herman said, he is going to be in his prime now. I mean, RSL dropped him for a reason. I don't know what that is. He was involved in some games last year. He scored some goal, had some great assists in that snow game. So hey, we'll take him, and he may earn the starting position over Brad Smith and Vanderkus, and we'll just have to do a little bit of a rotation because there is a lot of games this year.
yep. And yeah, with that, let's go ahead and talk about the second half, because obviously the first half it ended on a strong note. Just the Dynamo just coming back from like an early slump, pass it like in the first 20 minutes, and then from there, just pretty much just adapting to the game, and yeah, just getting that key, like that big goal from Tate Schmidt with an assist from Ache Ache before the end of the first half, and yeah, like just heading to the second half, it was a pretty bad start for the Dynamo, only because Cincinnati will end up getting the second goal like early in the 48th minute, and off pretty much a lucky break in the middle of the box. Then Houston losing the ball like after the ball was squared in, and the ball getting off a deflection of, I believe it was Teenage, like off a shot from Obian Nwabolo, and yeah, it just looked pretty rough, especially when it seemed like Dynamo built like the strong case to keep their momentum going, and yeah, it was just an unfortunate goal to concede.
Initially watching
And
the
the
replay
timing
right
of
now.
it.
Yeah, dude, 3 minutes after the first half started, after the start of the second half. But the just watching the replay right now, it was a ball from Cincinnati's own half played down the wing, and Escobar was a good 10, 15 yards behind the winger making the run. And so I don't know if Escobar was just was sleeping right there, or what he was really doing, because I mean, God, he was just so far behind, and they made an overlapping run, and they laid it off, and then the cross came into the middle, and it wasn't really cleared, and then the shot got deflected into the goal, and nothing Steve Clark could do about that one, which was unfortunate. And to come out 3 minutes into the second half too, after we go into halftime with that goal, and the boys are happy. Ben Olsen's talking, let's do this, let's do this. He even said it in the couple takes where he's like, hey, let's just focus on let's playing our game. And then they score 3 minutes in, and now we got to chase the ball and try to make something happen. And that just kind of changed it. And shout out to Dynamo, they did not give up, they kept trying, but just wasn't able to pull it off. So
The thing about that goal though is the timing of it,
yeah.
right? Right after halftime. That's what sucked. And obviously the deflection. It sucked. Okay. It sucked all around. But I thought they initially, even though Escobar was running back, they did a good job of stopping the attack for a second, but then the back heel is what broke the line. And that's what set up the cross, into the area. That's what broke the line. That little back heel flick. That was nice. That was nice.
No, yeah, and yeah, it's like I said in the beginning. This is one of the pretty much the theme of the game, especially those kind of mistakes costing them points, and thankfully those kinds of mistakes can be addressed early on. And unfortunately, that's something that Ben also will recognize at the end of the game. But yeah, it's just one of those things that they're gonna have to figure out just to control, because it kind of goes back to like the issue with the chemistry, giving the balls away very early, and like even not being in the right mentality to like try to avoid those kinds of mistakes. But yeah, like it's unfortunate goal to concede, but thankfully past that goal, that it will look like Dynamo are essentially still in the game. Essentially, they will like keep building up and just create those offensive plays, and keep a hold of possession as well. And for a good chunk of the game, like you just felt like they were back in it. And it's something that it's just looking back at the Dynamo for like in the past, like it's something that you will recognize as being useless because the team will never try. But in this case, the Dynamo were still in it, and they had the chance to like tie the game even. And it's just unfortunate that they didn't make up their, or rather take advantage of the opportunities to score. And they had even like the goalkeeper for Cincinnati. Shout out to him. I felt like he had a pretty good game in the second half, and just stopping the Dynamo in a few instances, and just being a difference, honestly.
That's why that second goal hurts because Coco had the same play on the other end, and we just missed it by this much.
Yep,
And then Franco, I remember, had another good opportunity and also just missed the side of the post like this.
the
So
far post.
yeah,
Yep.
so that's why that second goal hurt so much. Because like, why wasn't luck on our side?
Dude, you're right, because even someone mentioned last night how they scored their goal. It was just deflected off into the net, and then how we take our shot right behind them, and it's just the complete body block. So they it's just a little bit of a different same situation, just a different ending. So it was unfortunate, but man, uh, totally altogether, we played well, man. What you got?
I also will say I just remember Teenage made a goal line clearance as well. We could have gone down 3-1 like in the 70th minute.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, shout out to Teenage. Like he's been improving a lot, and I don't know if you saw him throughout the game, but he made some like clean tackles, clean slide tackles, like pretty much like everything. Pretty much everything that he did came off right. Obviously, not the fortunate goal that came off out of his leg, and and yeah, outside of that, like yeah, I feel like he's been improving a lot, like consistently, just like stepping up in every challenge, and just getting those clean opportunities to get rid of the ball. at the moment. But yeah, I feel like the teenage has been improving a lot,
Yeah, man.
honestly.
Shout out to Teenage, bro. He's like, people have been worried about how dangerous he's going to play, and he did not play dangerous at all last night. He played very in tune with his touch, in tune with himself. He didn't throw his body out everywhere. He made the plays he needed to. It's just the goal that deflected off of him. It's just unfortunate that he wasn't in the right place at the right time, but he was in the wrong place, wrong time. But yeah, man, Teenage looked well, and we know that's our superstar center back as long as he can control his his long legs. But yeah, shout out to Teenage right there.
That's what I was gonna say. We pay him to play like that. Like, yes, shout out to him, but we pay him to play like that. And now with Barthlow, he kind of has to be the anchor and be kind of controlling that back line now, and that's what we pay him for. You know.
Yeah, and things will like keep getting interesting with Dynamo because at the 72nd minute or so, the subs will start getting subbed in, and Quinones will be replacing Corey Baird, and you guys mentioned this like at the start, but Corey Baird didn't do much, and he's making me look bad because I in the bold prediction that I made in the last episode, I have him still with more goals than save us, and that first game was like embarrassing for me. So not no bad job for Corey Baird for making me look bad, and and yeah, and so yeah, Quinones will replace Corey Baird, and Thor will come in for save us at around the 72nd minute, and it and things pretty much look threatening since then because like Quinones will get a chances like Quinones is fast, man, and you saw it last year, but yeah, he was just like get it being open like on his end, and Cincinnati will like end up tackling him pretty late and drawing those fouls. And I know, yeah, I love Quinones, man, and I just hope like it's one of those players that keeps getting minutes like in the second half because I feel like Quinones can just come in and be a super sub.
Yeah, and the bold prediction on Baird, that's more on you than Baird because Baird is Baird still. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Baird had a horrible game last night and didn't do nothing, wasn't involved in the game at all. Like I said, Quinones came in and subbed, and Cincinnati actually reacted to that sub pretty quick, and they made their own sub on the left back side to because the other guy was just kind of like he was getting burned. So they had to make a sub and get some fresh feet in there to try to slow down Quinones. And Thor coming in. I think Thor got more touches than Seabass did the entire game, and he actually had a couple opportunities on goal that was blocked up. So that's what them subs are supposed to come in and do, and that's what we expect from Thor because Thor's a different type of striker than Sebastian Fede is, and you need him to come in and make those changes. So it pulls Seabass out. The defense kind of feels good about themselves, but no, you're getting Thor coming in, and that's going to change the game up a little bit. You're going to have to defend different. So that's where I'm at with the Thor and Quinones, man. A lot of people were giving shit to Quinones last night, but I don't know why. He played well. He came in for what you said, 18 minutes, and we'll need to see more of him before we can make a harsh judgment on him.
Right, and
Yep.
I've always been a fan of Quinones. Now he just has to take try and earn more minutes. Fight for those minutes because his speed makes him dangerous by himself. Now we just need him to make smart decisions when he does get the ball. And then Thor's first touch was a clear chance. I mean, it was off a set piece, and man, after seeing last night, set pieces are going to help us this year. Set pieces. You can tell they've been working on them because even on Schmidt's goal, you had Sebas and Coco running on the behind. Like behind Schmidt, both of them were running to the back of the post, and you can tell Herrera sent that ball way back. So they're working on set pieces, which is good to see. You need set pieces to be dangerous, but it was clear backwards and it landed for Thor. He hit it clean. It just it's a defender right in front of the goal and it hit him, but Thor's first touch was a clear scoring opportunity, man.
Yep. No. Yep. And that when it comes to set pieces, yeah, like you said, just looks like they've been working on that, and like throughout the second half, they just I kept looking threatening, and something that I said before, it's something that's not familiar with like the old Dynamo of the past few years, which is just good to see. And and yeah, so those were two of the subs. The third sub that we talked about a little bit earlier about the episode was Griffin Dorsey replacing Franco Escobar, and we pretty much already talked about that. And the last sub, being around stoppage time, around the 90th minute, 95th minute of stoppage time, was Brooklyn Race coming in for Ivan Franco, and I thought that was interesting. Obviously, Brooklyn Race is just one of the uh, pretty much one of the best youngest prospects we had coming in to sign a homegrown deal just recently still, and he's and Ben Olsen, like it seemed like Ben Olsen is pretty much high on him, and he's gonna have a good role this season, and just coming in like even though it was pretty late in the game to essentially try to change things with like 4 minutes left on stoppage time. I still felt like him taking those minutes, I felt like it was pretty important for him, especially just to try and get acclimated with MLS.
Yeah, it's too bad we couldn't get him in there a little earlier, but we were still trying to attack, and who do you take off for Brooklyn? And they ended up taking Franco off. So I'm glad he did get in there and get at least 5 minutes, and it was the pressure time at the end of the game where we're trying to hurry up and score. So hopefully we can get him in there a little earlier, or maybe we can get up on New England and we can maybe pull Arthur or give Achi a break towards the end of the game and let Reigns come in to get a little more acclimated with the first team. And that's Reigns has got something there, but he's got to get some minutes so he can show what he's been doing in practice.
Before we talk about the next match, I'm just gonna ask y'all without looking, how many possession you think we had? Just give me a percentage.
How much what?
For possession,
Possession.
I would say 70.
Yeah. 67. Okay, you got 62. I got 63. But it felt like that, you know? Like I know,
Yep.
okay, what the hell, you gotta do something with it. I understand. But it just feels good to dictate the game, you know? Just hate that we had a little bit bad luck, but we had 5 more shots than them, dude. 19 shots. The Dynamo had 19 shots.
Yeah,
Yep.
let's run through the
19.
stats real quick. It was like you said, possession 62-38 in our favor. Shots 19-14 in our favor. On target 7-5 in our favor. And somehow we had better passing accuracy according to the stats when we felt like we didn't. We had 2 chances created. They had none. Of course, they scored on their chances created though. 7 corners to their none. Last year it was the opposite for us. We were giving up corners. This time we took 7. And here's the big the Fafa FU. We had no offsides last night, none whatsoever. But yeah, and then when you go look at the shot chart, this is what's something that's different too. Because last year, I'll put it up on the screen for y'all watching YouTube, and it'll focus here in a second. Look how many are in the box, and look how many are outside the box. Of those 19 shots, only 4 are outside the box. Last year, if we took 19 shots, it would have been like 4 inside the box and 15 outside the box, where we weren't able to get into the pressure zone. So that's something to stand out right there. Like, we were getting into their box, we were taking chances, we were taking opportunities, and that was just the only bad part is we couldn't score there. And here's the little pass chart again for y'all watching on YouTube. As you see, number 9 right there, I believe he should be a lot more forward out in front. And the passing chart shows that he had to come back into play with the midfield to even look at the ball and touch the ball. And so we need something to change right there as well. But stats looked great last night, and they showed up on the field. Possession, I wish we, like Tom said, we could have put something into the net, but we put pressure on Cincinnati. And you can tell when the ref blew the whistle at the 95th minute mark how the fans they were kind of relieved that they got out of there with the 2-1 win at the same time. Yeah, they didn't do the OSAG side; they just
Yeah. And yeah, it's good that you guys brought that up because I remember seeing that the XG for Dynamo ended up being 2, which is pretty unusual for their standards. Just looking back, and yeah, just looking back and just like recognizing their lack of possession, like in the past few years, and just either that or taking the lead in one game and essentially just giving up, letting them concede the lead and not doing anything about it. And yeah, like it's just like even though like stats don't do much when it comes to the scoreline, like it's still pretty important to just keep that in mind because this is pretty unusual for Dynamo standards for a while now, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's good if you know what's been happening and yeah, all the changes that have been going on. So that's just pretty good. And yeah, it's just one of the many takeaways I can take out from this game because honestly, like the way they've been controlling the game, and just that they seem to keep that flow going and figure out those mistakes when it comes to chemistry and just like personal mistakes overall. Like there's just a few things they have to fix, but they're looking pretty good.
Hey, before you move on to the next game, if you don't mind, just kind of run through the scores of the MLS day yesterday, real quick, and if you don't mind at all. But to start off
Yeah,
the day,
let's
of
do
course,
it.
everybody in the world, well, in the United States and Canada and Mexico, watched Nashville versus Cincinnati start off, and Nashville ended up winning that game 2-0. That was kind of a boring game at some certain points right there, but they got their goals. A little surprise, DC won at home 3-2 against Toronto, and that one was surprising to me. No surprise, Philadelphia won 4-1 at home against Columbus 4-1. So Philadelphia already showing they're still the same team they were last year. Miami beat Montreal in Miami 2-0. Here's one that was a good dogfight. Charlotte and New England. New England ended up going to Charlotte and winning 1-0. And from my understanding, Charlotte had 65,000 fans there again, screaming and yelling. And looking at that, I kind of watched that game a little bit just because that's who our next opponent is. That was a 50-50 game all the way throughout right there. And then I guess you want to have one of the probably the most exciting endings is Atlanta at home beat San Jose 2-1. And I'm sure if you watch Sports Center or the replays, you've seen the goals right there from that Atlanta put in stoppage time, both of them right there. Orlando beat the Red Bulls
Yeah,
1-0.
crazy.
Yeah, of course, our game. Now, here's the two big ones. So we weren't the only team in Texas to lose. As a matter of fact, there were two others that ended up losing last night. Dallas at home lost. Woo, I know, right? Dallas at home lost 1-0 to Minnesota. I have not watched those highlights, so I'll need to go back and see what the heck happened right there. And then the big one. All right, our redheaded friend Tim Parker, who we wish well and went to St. Louis, did a great job. He scored St. Louis's first ever goal in their history. And not only was it their first ever goal in history, it ended up leading to them falling up. Well, we'll just say Austin fell apart. And I won't name the kid's name because I like him, but Austin gave up two late goals, and just one of them was just ferocious back pass to St. Louis, and then St. Louis just turned and scored. But St. Louis ended up winning at the very end, 3-2 against Austin. And then, of course, the late night game last night, Vancouver blew their 1-0 lead and lost to RSL 2-1. LA has been canceled due to the weather that they're getting in California. The replay will be on July 4th now, which makes sense. I guess I'll watch that game on a Tuesday. Got Seattle and Colorado still today, and then tomorrow, because of weather, you have Portland and Kansas City still going on. So that was the league yesterday, man.
No, yeah, that was a good recap. And yeah, just in a nutshell, like pretty much just taking into consideration like the big games, it was pretty big for the league. Yeah, like a big week to start, and not to mention the games are still coming up. So that's pretty good. And it's just like a factor of how entertaining this league is. And yeah, shout out to St. Louis, man. Like they got the job done in like their first game ever, and that's just incredible, honestly.
in
Yeah,
that
and
in
Tim
that
Parker scored. That was like the icing.
Tim Barker scoring for them, but
Yeah, in their house.
in that house, which of course, where we live, Fox, we get to see a lot of the reaction on Twitter, and they are just having a shoot
Yep.
storm of a friggin' day right now. And last night they were extremely mad. I'm surprised they didn't vandalize no cars in the parking lots or anything like that. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, they were mad, and they were even mad at a former player, Stroud, who he played aggressive against Juicy last night and they were begging for a red card on a particular foul. I don't know if it was a red card, but the dude did kick up at his feet whenever he was going down. So it definitely should have been a yellow card. And there wasn't even a foul on the play at all. But man, St. Louis played well, looked well, and I'm happy for that that result. Now, looking at the standings, of course, Austin still. Actually, you know what? We're tied with them. I guess they just have us because they scored 2 goals. We scored one. Dallas hasn't done nothing, but we're all at a 1 goal differential. So we all have to go in the next week now. See what happens there.
That
Oh, yep. And anything else you want to say, Herman, before we move to the game against New
Yeah,
England?
you talked about entertaining. I mean, I forget the man's name, but the World Cup player for Argentina that plays for Atlanta. I mean,
Oh, Thiago Almada,
oh
yep.
my God, he saved them, dude.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
that long shot at the 89th and then the free kick. I mean, stoppage time, that's beautiful. And then the other thing I saw that I was like, whoa, Philadelphia Union, their fourth goal. I mean, the first one was unintentional, but I mean, he did two roulettes and then sent a beautiful through ball to score that fourth goal, you know. So quality stuff too, man, in the first week. So it was a good week for MLS.
Man, I was having fun watching MLS
It was,
soccer.
and it's just good to
Right?
see.
Weren't you having fun watching MLS soccer yesterday? For us Premier boys?
Major League Soccer,
Yes,
soccer.
yes.
Yep.
When
Oh, yeah.
Schmidt scored, I
And
was.
Of course.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yep. No, yeah, first goal of the season for Dynamo, and you wouldn't have expected it, but it was Tate Schmidt. So again, shout out to Tate Schmidt for that big goal and just getting to the board early. No, but yeah, with that, let's go ahead and talk about our next game against New England on the road, and yeah, obviously this is a turf game. Obviously the odds are against us, and like this time around though, we're looking pretty good to make a case to get a result. And I feel like for this game in particular, with New England's midfield, I feel like it's one of the best in the Eastern Conference. I feel like they can do some damage to us if we're not careful, and I also think they're gonna come out and frustrate us, kind of like how Cincinnati did. But I feel like they're just gonna be more upfront about it. So it's just a couple things to look forward to. Like I feel like as long as the Dynamo keep what they were doing against Cincinnati, or at least shift some pieces around to have like some more plays come in, I feel like they can get a result here. So we'll see how that goes.
Dude, something I did notice from watching that New England Charlotte game last night is New England was working the ball up the left side a lot. And right now, that's our weak side with Bartlow and Escobar, or Bartlow and Dorsey, depends on who starts over there. Hopefully, it's Bartlow and Dorsey next week, just for the because they played together and they know each other a little better. But they were working their way up that left side a lot. But Charlotte was able to hold them in and not give up that goal until very late in the game. And so it's going to be a little something different. And on New England's not bad. They kind of surprised me with that win last night. But man, we definitely have our hands full next weekend on Saturday again at 6:30.
And this a shout out to Fox. Good job finding this stat. The last time we beat them away was 10 years ago, man. But see, this
Yep.
is a new age for the Dynamo. We're re-cleansing, we're getting rid of the bad mojo. So we gonna break that next week, okay? We gonna break that, okay? Done with the past decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gonna break that. That's a good stat find, Fox. That's good.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. Our
let's
last.
remember
Yeah.
that we beat them 3-1 at home last season. Towards the end of the season too, I don't think New England's changed their roster too much. So, and we played them well when we were looking like crap. So now we got an overhaul team looking a little bit different. So I mean, let's go into New England and get that win. What were you going to say, Andre?
Yeah. Pretty much that. That yeah. Our last win ever at New England was 10 years ago, and it's been a while. And we it's just part of those things that I was gonna say when it comes to like road results. We almost got one last night, and we pretty much have the pieces to like have string some consistent performances on the road because obviously the road has been like a pretty bad place for us to get results for a long time now, and it's about time we get those going because we need those points and not just at home obviously, but yeah, we have to like set the consistency already, like, and we have the pieces to do that.
For real, I'm ready for it, man. I'm already ready for next Saturday. I got a whole 5 days worth of work I got to go through before I get to watch the Dynamo again. Sucks, man. But hey,
It's a blessing. It's a blessing, OSG.
yeah, that's true because of work, I'm able to watch the games, right? I'm able to travel to
That's
Houston as
right.
many times as I'll be traveling this year. Hopefully Fox will catch a ride with me one of these times, and we'll get down there together. But hey, I look forward to next week. It's going to be, like you said, it's going to be a little tough, and New England brings a 4-2-3-1. It looks like as well, and Gill right there in the middle, man. Shoot, that's going to be a dangerous player, but I hope Archer kind of holds him down and doesn't let him get too close to so he could hurt us any.
Oh yeah, and with that, we can just go ahead and close the episode. But before that, we can just go ahead and get to some of the Twitter questions that we got from last night's game. And Eric, let's go ahead and get
Yeah,
those.
and I posted asking for questions, and I said, to the fans that travel, how was the trip? So real quick, Webb Tilton actually replied back, and he said the trip was great. Cincinnati is a surprisingly cool city. The stadium is nice, except the men's room is tiny with huge lines. So I guess they don't have enough stalls for the men to go to the restroom there. The stadium food was a bit underwhelming, which people we hate eating at the stadiums anyways. So that'll be something to look forward to here in our stadium, since we hired a chef now to do some of our food concessions. So that'll be a little bit, yeah. Oh yeah, it's like and Pat be cooking too, so we might see him in one of those concessions. No, but otherwise he says.
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
kitchen
for
for
real.
sure.
He's probably still in there right now, But Webb said their supporter section was amazing last night. Of course, he was at the game, so he could see and he could hear, and so sounds like they made a lot of noise. And then, of course, we have Chris, the bad guy, which I'm kind of surprised by his questions because usually he wants to throw us some hate our way, not our way, but just that's what he does. He's why he's Chris, the bad guy. But man, so Chris, the bad guy, and this question goes out to you, Herman, and to you, Foxtrot. Would you take the Cincinnati defense or the Dynamo offense?
I would definitely say the Dynamo offense because I feel like with the pieces missing, especially Vasi, I feel like we could have done some more damage to them, and it's just part of those unfortunate situations that we weren't able to score, especially in the second half, and yeah, we had those opportunities coming, so we had a good shot to tie things up, but even take a win in the right circumstances, but it ended up being a loss. So, but we still look pretty good up front, though.
What about you, Herman?
I would agree. I would agree. The result doesn't show it, but I feel like our attack is better, and it'll keep getting better, especially when Bassi joins it. So I agree. I felt like we had Cincinnati on the ropes last night.
I like to say the result showed it, the score did not. So, but
There you
that
go.
depends. That depends on how you read into that
Yep.
right there. But and I'm with y'all too. Like I expected more from Cincinnati's defense, but last night Dynamo played well, looked well, had opportunities more than what we expected. So kind of put us on the surprise and high note. So hey, we'll see if we can keep it going into New England. All right, Foxtrot. This one's a hard question for you, man. This one's very tough, man. But he asked if you got Barbara's number yet. I'll let you say her last name because
I did. So I did get Barbara's number in the back of my new jersey, which I bought from the dash shop as soon as it came out, and 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 yeah, but yeah, like it's that jersey though, it looks pretty good. So I'm pretty excited to get it in my doorstep now. I feel like it's gonna take a while, but it should be here in less than a couple weeks.
it'll be there for
Well
the
played,
first
sir.
for the for, yeah. Well played, by the way, getting her number. A good answer. So,
Well
so
played,
Chris,
sir.
you
Yes, sir.
hear that? He's got her number. But yeah. And hey, it'll be here before the first home game, so you'll be able to wear it if you end up making that trip there. And so, and And then, of course, everybody knows the Dash players come and show respect to the fans that show to the game. So maybe there'll be a way to just show her what the name on the back is, and you never know. You never know. You never
Oh yeah, for
know.
sure.
Bring that Venezuelan flag too, as well.
Yeah.
And then the last stupid question that Chris the bad guy asks is, "What's it like being 50?" So, sir, I'm 44, so I'll be 45 here in a couple of months. But you know, I like adulting, I guess. So that's all I'm going to give you, Chris.
Change your name
There
to
you go.
Young Soccer
That's
Guy.
it.
Hey, Phil's young soccer guy. Yeah, there we go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As long as the heart, yeah. As long as the
FOSG.
heart's still beating, man, I'm going to be young forever. So, and the stress between
Yep.
driving back and forth every single weekend, that's what making me feel older and closer to 50. But hopefully I can resolve that situation soon enough. Not too soon, but soon enough, and then y'all are going to have. Y'all won't have enough of me or too much of me. Pretty much is what it will be, because I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be everywhere, and I'm gonna be any place that any of y'all are, and I'm gonna see when you post it on Twitter where you're at. And I just might show up, so or in the chats. But yeah, I'm having fun, and I guess I'm ready to get older, driving back and forth.
Yep.
I'm sad that we're sponsored by Shell and we still haven't gotten you a Shell gift card from the Dynamo. I'm very sad
Dude,
about that, truthfully.
hey, I did put that out there on Twitter for them to
Yep.
see. One of the reps did see it too. So hopefully they are saying something to Shell Energy, or maybe they're just waiting until I show up to the stadium and be like, "Here you go, man. Here you go. Let us take care of a trip or two back and forth." I'm like, "Yeah, please, bro, please,
Hmm.
please, please," because but I'm doing it, man. I'm
Honestly, yeah, they should do
dude,
that.
for real. I mean, what do we have? 17 home games this season, and not including Open Cup, and uh, 4 of those are on a Wednesday night. Now, the Wednesday nights are going to be kind of questionable if I can make it or not. We'll see when that time comes. But the other 13 home games, I will 100% be at, and then that's going to be. I said 30 times I'll be in Houston this season, because I'm going to try to make as many Dash games as possible too at the same time, because some of them are Friday nights now instead of Sunday nights. So that makes it even better, to where I can go on a Friday night, spend the night, and then go to Dynamo on Saturday, and then come back home, and we'll have to see what the dose schedule is like to see how many dose games I can get into. But I'm definitely going to be there. And if you don't know OSG, you will soon. Enough. And then maybe you'll have enough of me.
Yep. No, yep. And that's gonna do it for this episode. Honestly, big shout out to Herman for joining us. I hope we can have him at some point in the future. But yeah, if you haven't tuned into a Dinámico yet, even if you don't understand Spanish, I recommend tuning in, because it's pretty much Noodle Time in Spanish, but it's got our own flavor, all that. So and if you don't know about Dinámico, it's as long as you subscribe to this podcast, whatever you listen to it, you're going to be receiving the Dinámico episodes. And yeah, just stay tuned for those episodes. I'm obviously going to share those on Twitter as well, like I do normally with Noodle Time. And I know, yeah, thank you, Herman, for joining this episode, and obviously Eric, thank you for coming in and bringing your insight, like always.
Yeah, bro. I can't wait till the next one. I'm ready. I'm ready to do next week's already. I'm ready to get a win in New England. And like you said, make sure y'all follow all the platforms. Everything, y'all see the emails. If you're subscribed to Kofi, you're going to get the email to Kofi that when every time something's posted on Kofi, and you see all the episodes, Dynamico, Noodle Time. You can follow at Noodle Tempio on Twitter to get some updates all the time. We're always posting at Dynamic Foxtrot. And Herman, remind people what your Twitter is now, because I think it changed on me last time I read it.
Yeah, it's at El Dinámico _GB. Thank
Yeah,
y'all
man.
for
So
having
give us.
me. This was
Yep.
fun.
Well, thank you, Herman. But yeah, guys, thank you guys for tuning in, and stay noodle.
H is up.